Guys, let's pick some games. Now, most people start out in, wherever the number one overall seed is, but this is an SEC podcast. And so we're going to start out where the top ranked or the top seeded SEC team is, and that's Tennessee Volunteers. And we welcome to the show from Section YY8, Negative Niece. How you doing today, man?
Good. What's going on, everybody?
Well, I think it's a good day for all of us. We got 8 SEC teams into the field, which was my prediction preseason. So, liking where we're sitting right now, Tennessee, I think, has got a pretty fun bracket to be in. But let's talk about this Tennessee team just a little bit before we get rocking here. Now, obviously, things did not go the way that Tennessee fans wanted it to go in the SEC tournament. Are you kind of, is there kind of an attitude of a little bit of nervousness after that SEC tournament, or do you think this team bounces back well?
I think this team, I want to think this team bounces back. They got too many veterans on this team that have been around the block with Vescovy, Triple J, Adu. All these guys have been around the block. And Jemiah Mashack came out in the press conference after the loss to Mississippi State the other day and said, "We will not feel like this again." So that was encouraging. I'm hopeful that they can bounce back because let's just face it, they were pretty terrible on Friday afternoon against Mississippi State. So I am a little concerned about how they've played the past couple games after they clinched the SEC regular season title against South Carolina. Is it fixable? Yes. I mean, we're fans. There's always going to be a little bit of concern there, obviously, but I'm hopeful that the veterans on this team and the coaching staff is able to, erase this from the guys' minds. Hey, it's the SEC tournament. You probably weren't going to be a 1 seed anyways from the sound of it. So let's just forget about it and move on and focus on the next 2 games we got.
Absolutely. Guys, do you have any questions before I jump into a little bit deeper on Tennessee?
So my biggest thing, I've been listening to a lot of basketball talk these last few days, and one of the biggest things I heard was, to talk about Dalton Connect and how he kind of underperformed in that SEC tournament. But they think this is going to be kind of his turning point to where he's just an absolute superstar in the NCAA tournament because he doesn't want to end the season like that. So do you have any predictions on Dalton Connect going into the tournament?
The whole team didn't play well Friday. He didn't play well Friday. He missed a wide open dunk at the end of the game, and you could just see his body language. It was like, I can't even get a dunk to go in. He still had 14 points, which for most other people would be a great day. But Clark Kellogg said on the selection show when Tennessee's name came up that the nation will finally see Dalton Connect, and I think he bounces back. He's from everything I've heard from over there on campus is the guy works extremely hard. All he cares about is basketball. They rarely see him out on the town at night, so he's always in the gym. So I'm hopeful that he can bounce back because if he does, the nation is going to see what we've all seen around the SEC the past 4 months. Not that the nation hasn't seen him, but this is the bigger stage than earlier in the season. But I think he can. I think he will.
All right, Caleb?
Yeah, I think going for me, is there any worry about, what people have said in the past about Rick Barnes in March? Is there any worry about anything like that happening or?
I mean, I touched on this last week, and I don't know if Nice heard me talk about this now, but everybody's got a different path, and took Scott Drew 18 years to win a national championship. But go ahead, Nice, by all means.
Yeah, we some of us in our group, not even our podcast, but some others that watch the games that are fans of Tennessee. Like at some point, we keep putting ourselves in these positions of 2 seed, 3 seed. At some point, you think things have got to go Tennessee's way, and they're going to kick down that door and make a run. They're going to get hot instead of running into Loyola Chicago or whoever it may be, Oregon State, Florida Atlantic. I mean, it's just over and over and over. I think the last 5 conference or NCAA tournaments, Tennessee's lost to a lower seed. So at some point, you would think law of averages is going to say, this isn't going to happen this year. We're hopeful it's this year, but that is as soon as Tennessee lost Friday, that was all everybody was talking about. around Knoxville, around the SEC was here's Rick Barnes. Here we go again. It's March. And the numbers don't lie. He's an average coach in March. I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't think the guy forgets how to coach when the calendar turns to March, but as Big Montana on our show says, when the grass starts growing, Tennessee basketball loses. And listen, this isn't just a Rick Barnes thing at Tennessee. Let's be honest. It goes back decades. Jerry Green had a great team in Knoxville at UT, and we lost to an underseeded North Carolina team. How many times did Bruce Pearl come up just a bit short in the NCAA tournament when he was here? We had a chance to beat Michigan in the Sweet 16 when Conzo Martin was here. We didn't get it done. I mean, it's just over and over and over. So is this the year? I sure hope so. I think our draw is pretty good, but Tennessee's just got to go down there and kick that door in and get through it. They're just going to have to win it for once.
Absolutely. All right, let's go through and let's start picking some games. So obviously the team that Tennessee drew is a team that Kentucky's very familiar with, and that is the St. Peter's Peacocks. 19 wins on the season for the Peacocks. Not the greatest offense you're ever going to see, but they do play decent defense for the Peacocks. Guys, let's just run through this real quick. This should be a pretty easy pick, but what stands out to you about the Peacocks in this matchup, and how many points does Dalton Connect put up in this game? Maddie, we'll start with you if you want to go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's kind of one of those. Obviously, everybody knows the Peacocks from the Tennessee game, but other than that, they've kind of been a blip on the radar this season. I don't think it's anything that the Volunteers aren't going to be able to compete with. As far as Dalton Connect goes, I'm hoping he has a bit of a revenge game. Let people know that he's here to play. Let's see him go for at least 35.
Let's see it. Caleb, so I'm guessing, Maddie, you're picking Tennessee, right?
I'm going to go with Tennessee. I already made a bet that they're my national championship winner, so you're going to see me pick a lot of Tennessee this round.
Whoa.
You picking the dadgum
Wow.
sports bet. You're confident. Caleb, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, I think after this loss in the SEC tournament, you're going to see this Tennessee team bounce back. As much as I'm a fan of the Cinderella stories. Enjoyed seeing St. Peter's 2 years ago knock off Kentucky. I just like David said, we were talking before. This isn't that same St. Peter's team that we saw 2 years ago. This is a totally different team that 19 wins, not the greatest record. So I don't think it's going to necessarily be close. It'd be interesting. That would be, I think, a very big surprise in this tournament overall. But I think you're going to see Tennessee move on in this one pretty easily.
Okay, Nace, who do you got?
Obviously, I'm going to take Tennessee.
Right, we're all taking Tennessee here.
I mean, I looked St. Peter's numbers up just a little bit earlier before I got on. Like you said, they're not very good offensively.
No.
They rank near the bottom or toward the bottom in a lot of offensive categories. I don't know much else about them, but I can't imagine this is a game where Jonas Adu can't step up and take control of the game down low and free up Connect out front. I think Dalton can score probably as much as he wants in this game, but I think you'll see him score around 25. Hopefully they can get him out toward the end of the game and not have to rely on him. I saw the line was 19.5 Tennessee, so I think they can cover this one and walk into the round of 32.
I'm going to make it a 4-0 here. Player to watch out, though, that Tennessee's going to want to stop scoring Washington, 16.5 points a game. Also, they got a pretty decent, not great, three-point shooter in Marcus Randolph is another player that Tennessee is going to want to watch out for. So we're all moving the Vols on here. Caleb, I hope that you're keeping track for us, please. Thank you. I don't want to get lost in the middle of this, but let's go on and let's talk about Texas. And do you like the Longhorns over either Virginia or Colorado State? What are you guys thinking there in that one?
I'm going to go with Texas. They've had a little bit of trouble in this last little bit of the season. But both Virginia and Colorado State, I mean, Virginia's been a little bit better as of late. So I think if they win that game, they'll give Texas a little bit more trouble. But as far as the matchup goes, I like Texas in that one.
Okay, Caleb, who do you got?
Yeah, I think I got to go with Texas in this one. You look at that Texas roster, like Maddie said, they've been struggled here of late, but one guy on their roster that you've got to look at that's a very experienced guy, has been in the tournament several years before, is Max Abmas. Yep. He's a guy that's very familiar with the tournament, took that jump from Oral Roberts to Texas and is looking to make a run here.
I would say if you didn't mention him, I was. Yeah, there's like a trio of 3 good guards here between all 3 of these teams. Isaiah Stevens on Colorado State, 16.5 points per game. Then another excellent guard out of Reese Beekman, one of the best guards in the country out of Virginia. You're not going to see a ton of offense out of that Virginia team. Very slow, very deliberate, very determined defensive play out of Virginia. But I am with you. I like Max. I'm going Texas. Nice, who do you got? And see if we make another 4-0 sweep here.
I think it's 4-0. I like Texas against either one of these teams, Colorado State or Virginia. The Colorado State Virginia game, I think it's kind of a toss up to me. I don't know a ton about either of those teams. Just looking at their numbers overall, they're fairly even. I think Virginia probably wins. They're playing a little bit better right now, and moves on to face Texas. And then we've got a Rick Barnes Bowl 3 coming up, Texas and Tennessee.
I was about to say that's a storyline creating itself right there in the round of 32 with Texas and Tennessee playing each other there. Let's go with this a little bit quicker if we can through what's north of them. Let's jump to the number 3 game there between Creighton and Akron. There's a trio of really good guards for the Jays, and I'm just going to lay this out here. Like the Jays are a very, very good team when it comes to offense, and they have multiple ways that they can get the job done. They're a very balanced, efficient team, but also they're going to be one of the slower teams we see in the tournament. They finished 2nd place in the Big East. They finished 2nd place in the Hall of Fame Classic earlier season. They got wins over Alabama, UConn, and Marquette. They got several guys, like I said, who contribute. The biggest concern for me when it comes to Creighton is the defensive numbers are good, but I feel like a solid offense could possibly take advantage of that defense with the pace that Creighton wants to play at and how they want to control the game. But guys, how do you see this one? Akron's kind of fun. They're an interesting one. The Mac's kind of down this year. What are you guys thinking?
I'm gonna go with Creighton in this one. One of those teams that we talked about earlier in the year that they were gonna be a hard team come March. And I don't think that's changed a whole lot. We've seen some of those younger players grow into more leadership roles, and I think they're gonna take that head on in the tournament. So I'm gonna go Creighton in this one.
Caleb, who do you got?
I like Creighton as well.
All right, so that's 3 on Creighton. Caleb, I'm assuming you're going Creighton also.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you look at this Creighton team, two names that stand out to me that you got to focus on is Shireman and Kalkbrenner. Those 2 guys have been leading this Creighton team all season, and I think you're going to see them help them make a run this season.
All right, so who do you guys have against a possibly healthy Kansas team and Buckyball for out of Sanford here? This one's one of the more intriguing matchups we got. Any thoughts on this one as a possible upset? Nice is ready to talk about it. Go ahead, man.
So my former high school baseball coach went to the Sanford ETSU game last week in Asheville. He says pick Sanford. He saw them in person, thought they were a really, really good team. I think if Kansas is healthy, though, I think they win. But this could be a very intriguing game. But I'm going to cautiously take the Jayhawks.
All right, Maddie, who do you got?
I'll agree with Nice there. Especially if they're healthy. If they're healthy, I'm going Kansas, no regards. If not, it's going to be, I think it is going to be a closer game than everybody expects, but I think Kansas has got this one pretty easily.
Caleb, who do you have before I say something crazy?
Yeah, I think in this one, it's hard to go against the grain with a traditional Kansas team that, in a 4-13 matchup, this should be no problem for them. Like, it all goes back to they need to be healthy. And with that, I'm going to follow the suit of cautiously optimistic with Kansas in this one.
Okay, so I'm going to pick Sanford in this one. If Hunter Dickinson's not back, I don't know how to go with this one, but I'm going to pick Sanford and be the lone rider here. But Buckyball is a lot of fun. They got a great assist to turnover ratio there, and they love to run up and down that court. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Gonzaga versus McNeese State. How about that for a matchup? Anybody taking the Cowboys here with Will Wade? He will never get off this show ever, and we'll never not be able to not talk about Will Wade. But who's thinking here? Who do you got?
We kind of talked about it earlier, David. I never once thought I would say that I am cheering for a Will Wade team. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. I feel like Gonzaga is a little overrated. I think the name kind of got them the spot where they're at in this one. So I'm going to go McNeese State with the upset.
Caleb?
Yeah, this is one of those 5-12 matchups. And, like you said, it doesn't seem like the Will Wade talk is going to stop. It seems like right when we think we get rid of him, he's out of the SEC. Here he comes back again with McNeese, and I'm liking the McNeese in this matchup. So give me McNeese with the upset of Gonzaga.
Nice, who you got, man?
Man, am I going to go off the rails and not pick with you guys on one? I don't know. This is a tough one. I mean, like Maddie said, Gonzaga, a little down this year, not as good as they have been. Probably a little overseeded. I think there was several other teams I felt like that were overseeded, but they were one of them. But I never thought we'd be talking about Will Wade in this capacity again. I've never liked that guy, and I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to pick McNeese State.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna
I'm
make
picking an upset.
No, yeah, we're gonna all do it. Yeah, no, I'm actually gonna go McNeese State in this one. I like it. Shahada Wells, 17.8 points per game, and this team rebounds too. They actually have won the glass in the Southland all throughout the course of the season. They've beaten Power 6 teams before. Give me the Cowboys. I can't believe that's a clean sweet upset there. I thought we'd have a little controversy. All right, let's jump to the 8-9 game here before we just all move Purdue on in the number one matchup there. But who do you like, Utah State or TCU? Whoever wants to jump in, go for
Pick
it.
TCU in this one. I feel like they've kind of been up and down this season. But I feel like they always play well when it comes to March. So they've got some experienced players on that team. Give me the Horned Frogs.
Caleb. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Oh, I was going to say, you look at this team, this two teams that, very similar rosters and like how they're built with the schedule and their how their schedule went. Ultimately, in this one, I'm going to go with Utah State in this one. The Aggies moving on for me.
Nice.
I'm going to take the Aggies. This is a Cinderella team. They back in the summer, they only had 4 scholarship players on the roster, used the transfer portal. They've had a remarkable season. I think they won 15, 16 in a row at one point. I'm going to take the Aggies in this one, but it should be a fun matchup.
Yeah, definitely. So Utah State's a team that I'm also on board with here. I'm going to go the Aggies as well. They've been one of my favorites out of the Mountain West all season. Great Aboro is a talented player down low for the Aggies. So I like that. We're all moving Purdue on, right? Go ahead.
Did we pick South Carolina, Oregon?
I was going to say, we skipped South Carolina and Oregon.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's grab South Carolina, Oregon. Who we got in that one? Because we're all moving Purdue on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. South Carolina, Oregon. Who do we like?
I'm going to go South Carolina as long as they, play like they've been playing their better games. We'll not talk about their last game in the SEC tournament, but outside of that, any other South Carolina team I feel like would beat the Oregon Ducks 9 out of 10 times in the game.
Absolutely. Caleb?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go opposite of you here, Maddie, and go with Oregon Ducks in this one. Give me Dante and Kusnard in this one, a guard center combo for Oregon that, they're leading the team right now, averaging 16 and 15 points a game. Lamont Paris has done a fantastic job with the South Carolina team, but I don't think he gets it done this year.
Nice. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Gamecocks. I think this could be another intriguing matchup, though. Oregon's playing really well right now. Won several games in a row to get to the Pac-12 title game last night and brought the title home to get into the tournament. So, playing really well right now. South Carolina has been a little iffy here the last couple of weeks, but I think they play in a better conference. They played a tougher schedule. I'm going to go with the Gamecocks.
That's fair. And I'm also going to go with the Gamecocks in this one. I can't believe I didn't pick that one as an upset because Oregon's playing really hot ball right now. And, overall, they shoot the three decently. But I like South Carolina a little bit more complete. I like BJ Mack as one of the big players coming out of South Carolina to get the job done. And also Gray's playing excellent basketball right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go South Carolina as well. All right, so moving on here, let's go back down to Tennessee. We got Tennessee and Texas. Who do you guys got in this one? We got the Longhorns or the Vols? We'll go quick around the horn. We'll start with Nice here.
I am going to cautiously take Tennessee. This has got all the ingredients for one of these classic Tennessee upsets in the NCAA tournament. I just think Tennessee's better than Texas. Texas has got some good wins on the season, but they also have quite a few losses. They did play in the Big 12, but I just think Tennessee's the better team here. Going to have a little bit of a home court advantage, being 4 hours away in Charlotte. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Guys, who do you got?
I'm gonna go Tennessee as well. I think really, the secret ingredient there for the Longhorns, like we talked about, Max Abmas. Um, I think Tennessee's defense going to be able to shut him down. Texas isn't going to know what to do with that as long as Tennessee's playing ball the way we watched them play this season. So I'm going to go with the Vols.
All right, Caleb, who do you got?
Yeah, and this one I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I think like we said, you're gonna have Dalton Connect, bounce back from that SEC tournament. But then you can't forget a guy named Zakai Ziegler as well. He's a guy that has impressed me with just the way he's bounced back from the injury last season. And I think the Vols get it done here against number 7 Texas.
Key matchup in my mind in this one is going to be backcourt versus backcourt, and I think Tennessee's got the better backcourt, especially if Santiago Vescovi please steps up that game just a little bit.
We're not asking for much, just a little bit.
It's like one extra 3 a game.
Just one.
Just one extra 3. That's all we're asking for. But yeah, I'm going to go Tennessee here, and I'm going to go ahead and advance into the Sweet 16. All right, between South Carolina and Creighton, who do we like?
I like Creighton.
Oh, I'm going to go Creighton as well.
Caleb?
Yeah, Creighton is here too.
We are in too much of a mind. We're not causing enough chaos in our bracket right now. But yeah, I'm also with Creighton on that one. So we'll go ahead and move them on. All right. So we ended up advancing Kansas, even though I said Sanford, and we got them facing McNeese State. Do we have a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16 against the Jayhawks? Whoever wants to jump in, go ahead. Who was your pick first?
David, you want chaos? Give me McNeese in this one, taking down Kansas.
There we go. Chaos. Give me chaos. Give me madness.
I have chaos, but not in this bracket. I'm going to take a healthy Jayhawks team. I like Bill Self.
All right. Fair enough. Maddie.
Yep. That's my holdup here is with Kansas. If they're healthy, I'm going to take them over McNeese.
All right, Caleb, you're going to get to break a tie here because I'm taking McNeese. Because there's normally one team that surprises us here. So, Caleb, do you like a healthy Kansas team, or do you like McNeese State with Will Wade to make the Sweet 16?
I like the idea of the chaos here, but with a healthy Kansas team, I think you've got to realistically move on the healthy Kansas team.
Is consistent, if anything else. I understand that. All right, let's go real fast and let's pick our winner between Utah State and Purdue. Who do we like in this one?
I'm going Purdue in this one. Zach Edey. I think he's going to be dominant for the first few games before he gasses out. So I think they're still safe in this one with him.
All right, Nice?
I agree, Purdue. I don't think anybody for the Aggies can guard Edey.
Yeah, fair enough. Caleb, what do you got?
Same here, same mindset there. Zach Edey, he's just too much to handle right now until, we're 2 games in here. Once you get further down, you think about the gas playing the games so close together. But right now, I think you see Purdue moving on.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with their Aboro versus Edey is going to be the matchup down low. And I think Edey's by far the guy that's going to take care of business there. So we got Purdue moving in to the Sweet 16. So we got Tennessee taking on Creighton in the Sweet 16. Nice, I'll start with you because this is your team. This is a really good, collective 3-point shooting team, Creighton team. But who do you have in this one?
I was going to say, I was looking at Creighton while we were talking about him a minute ago, nearly 11 3-pointers a game. So they can shoot it from the outside. Tennessee has struggled the past couple games defending the 3 against Kentucky. Not as much as against Mississippi State, but I just like Tennessee in this game. I think they're just a hair better than Creighton. Creighton's a really good basketball team. They play in a good conference. They've been a good team for a long time. I said on the show a couple weeks ago, I'm going to go down with the Vols. So give me the Vols.
Okay, very good. Now I know that Maddie is going to be on board because she just revealed who her national champion was. So Caleb, who do you got?
Yeah, like they said, this is a good 3-point shooting Creighton team. We know what they can do. I'm going to go with Tennessee in this one just because we know what they can do, what they've done with the regular season. And I'll be interested to see the matchups between, you have Connect, Shireman, you have Ziegler, Kalbrenner, all those guys, Adu for Tennessee. It's going to be a great matchup, and I think it could be one that's going to be a close matchup, but I think Tennessee finds a way to pull it out.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and advance Creighton for me personally, but for you guys, obviously the group vote is Tennessee. I understand that, and I'm with it, but like there is a lot that Creighton has to offer, and I personally just don't like this draw for Tennessee. So I'm gonna go Creighton in this one. Nothing against Tennessee, I do like them a lot, but this is a tough game for them and a matchup that's a little unfavorable. All right, let's go we got Kansas taking on Purdue on the other side of the Sweet 16. Who do we like?
I'm gonna go Kansas on this one. I think we kind of get to that point where Zach Edey gasses out. My big thing is taking it back to that Arkansas exhibition game. Obviously, Arkansas was very back and forth this season. But we saw what happened when you get a quick team with them. I think with a healthy Jayhawks team, they can outrun them, make them tired. And I don't think they're going to be able to last that many games in a row.
Okay, interesting. All right, Caleb, who do you got?
I'm gonna take Purdue for one more round in this one. I want to see the matchup between Edie and Hunter Dickinson. I think that's gonna be a fantastic matchup
that'd
down
be
low
great.
to see who wins that matchup. And I think that's where we mentioned a healthy team. How healthy is Hunter Dickinson, and does that allow him to play his best against Zach Edey?
Nice, who do you got? This is kind of turning into the Maui bracket, I've noticed, by the way.
Yeah, I was just looking up. I couldn't remember if Kansas and Purdue played each other in Maui. They didn't that I can find, but
That one, yeah.
yeah, they. I think a healthy Kansas team poses a pretty big threat to Purdue. I just don't know how healthy Hunter Dickinson is, and will he be able to withstand a Zach Edey that gets a lot of favorable calls sometimes from the officials. I'm going to take Purdue, but I think this could be a really tight game if Kansas is healthy. But
Okay.
give me Purdue.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm going to go Purdue as well. And my X factor for Purdue is really I'm not even thinking about Zach Edey really in this matchup versus that Dickinson Edey matchup. What I'm thinking here is the 3-point shooting, and can Kansas keep up with that? Because they can't shoot the three very well on this Kansas team. And guys like Braden Smith and other guys, if he's healthy for Purdue, I think Purdue's 3-point shooting is going to be really difficult for them to deal with, because your options are guard Edey or guard the three when you play Purdue. And I don't know if Kansas's offense is going to keep up. So I've got Purdue in the Elite Eight when they're going to be facing the Tennessee Volunteers. Who goes to the Final Four here, guys? Who do you like? Anybody?
Nobody wants to go. I'll go. So Tennessee and Purdue, they faced each other in the Maui tournament, Maui Invitational back in November. Purdue got the best of Tennessee. It was almost like a football game in that game. It was so physical, so rough. Tennessee got pushed around a little bit underneath. Jonas Adu, Tobey Awaka got pushed around a little bit. Awaka has come on since then. He wasn't playing a whole lot back in Maui. He was coming off of an injury. He's playing more and more minutes, has become more effective. So can Tennessee, can Jonas Adu, can Tobey Awaka, and possibly others in the low post limit Zach Edey and force Purdue to make some shots outside? We know Tennessee's a really good defensive team. That, to me, that's the key. If they can limit Edey and force Purdue to shoot outside, and Purdue's a very good shooting team, but we've seen in some of their losses this year, they've not shot very well from the outside. So I don't know who to pick. I'm gonna go with my team. I'm gonna go with the Vols. I think they find a way to get the best of Zach Edey. You got to look at this coaching matchup too. These are two coaches that every year come up short in March. Matt Painter, Rick Barnes. So one of them, if they play each other, is going to get the monkey off their back and at least get to the Final Four in Arizona. I'm going to go with the Vols, but I can see another rock fight like we had in Maui back in November.
Certainly so. I get the pick. Maddie, are you sure you want to pick with Tennessee?
So to be fair, I made that bet on Tennessee before the SEC tournament even started. Saw the odds, thought it was good. I was like, yeah, it's $10. We'll be fine. I can eat ramen for a meal if that's what it calls for. But my big thing, taking a look at the numbers, it's going to be a battle at the free throw line. Like Nice mentioned earlier, you've got a lot of fouls on Tennessee, 17.4 on average per game. Purdue's at 14 point forward. But I think as we get deeper into the tournament, eyes are going to be on the refs a lot more. So maybe some of those favorable calls for Zach Edey don't go the way that they planned. So honestly, I'm going to go with the better free throw shooting team here. And the team that I feel like is going to shoot more, I'm going to go with Purdue.
Okay. Caleb, who do you got?
Yeah, I think in this one, like good points from both sides there. Looking at it, I really think with the mention, we mentioned it before, you have Zach Edey that it's been game after game. I think by the time we get to this point, you're gonna see him gas a little bit, and like Maddie said, the better free throw shooting team in Tennessee here, and like Nice mentioned, these two teams, one of them's gonna get this monkey off their back, and I think Rick Barnes gets it done in this one and advances to the Final Four.
I really love the this matchup. If this is how it goes down, you got Painter, who's never made the Final Four, and you got Rick Barnes, who's trying to get back to the Final Four for the first time since he's been to Texas. Look, we're about to have a tiebreaker, Caleb, so you're going to have to figure it out here on this one. But I am going to go Purdue in this one. This was the matchup I didn't want. I wanted Houston I wanted Houston for Tennessee because I think Houston's a really good matchup for Tennessee in that situation. This is not the one I wanted, but I did say earlier in this year that I think if Purdue and Tennessee played 10 times, Purdue would win 6. And that's kind of how I still feel that way. Let's see how far this goes. But for me, I am going to go Purdue, and I'm going to rely on, like I said, that extremely talented shooting option and the difficulty you have to deal with when you guard either Zach Edey or you have to guard the perimeter with this Purdue team and a lot of their zoom action that they run. So I'm going to go Purdue. Caleb, who's in our Final Four?
I'm gonna stick with Tennessee in this one.
Okay. All right. So Caleb,
man.
There we go. I don't think it's a bad pick. Like, you could flip a coin. I was almost looking for a quarter over here, trying to pick this one because this is a complicated matchup. But all right, Nice, let everybody know where they can find the best Tennessee podcast out there, which is Section YY8.
So we're anywhere you can get podcasts, Section YY8 podcast. We have a YouTube channel at Section YY8. We're on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever it's called these days, at Section YY8 there. So if you're a Tennessee fan listening, you haven't checked us out yet, be sure to give us a listen. I'm going to be recording our selection show special here shortly, so be on the lookout for that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming here today, man.